So let's get started. This is Exploratory's this week's data, number one. So I like to start every week. We pick some data and then show you guys how you can actually work with the data, mostly like creating a chart or visualizing that data to find some interesting insights. Sometimes I tweet something like this, but I think the real question is, every time like I show the charts to other folks and then people ask the questions of how can we do it? Like I know I can import that data, but then how can I create that chart? So I want to use this thing that called this week's data channel to show you how to import the data, what to look for, and how you can create the charts, and what are the things you can do in a sort of like a quick how-to manner. So let's get started. So the other day, like I found this news of like Disney's stock price is going down somewhere in my Twitter timeline, and I thought it was kind of interesting because Disney, as you might have known, had some problem, right? So they were fighting with like a Florida governor, and then they were losing some kind of special status in some their what do you call it, like their office area or whatever the district, right? So like they have to now pay the tax and stuff. And also like I think the direction they are going in terms of their creative contents are not really aligned with most of the parents in the world or something like that. So there are a lot of people canceling Disney Plus subscription, which is a streaming service for it's kind of like a Netflix kind of stuff. But anyway, so I thought it was interesting. I wanted to see with my eyes like where the Disney stock price is going, heading and stuff. So let's take a look at it. Here is Exploratory. Exploratory is sort of like UI tool to do all kinds of data science stuff. But one of the great things is you can easily import this type of stock price data as well. So here, I'm going to just I'm going to select this cloud apps. Under the cloud apps, there's a stock price data source. So I'm going to select that. And here, basically, like all you need to do is type the stock ticker or stock symbols and how you can find it, right? So the way you can find it is you go finance, yahoo.com, and then you type whatever the company you're interested in. So for example, in this case, I'm interested in Disney, right? So Disney is basically use DIS as a stock symbol. So this is DIS is the one like we are looking for. So I'm going to just type on here. And then like, I'm going to set the start date. If you don't specify, and this is going to automatically set a year before. So then like, you can get the 1 year amount of the data. But I want to get the data from 2014 to 0101. So like beginning of 2014 to today. So I'm not going to set anything for the end date. That means automatically it uses today's date. And then now we can get the data. Preview looks okay. So I'm going to click on save, and I'm going to just type Disney, right? And then now it imported that data. So data range is like from 2014 to 2023, August 29, which is today's date. And then there are a couple of columns, right? So like the column we want to focus on is this adjusted, because sometimes stock gets split. So then the price for each price per stock gets adjusted. So that means before the split and after the split, the price, you can't really compare the price, or you can't really see the trend. So this adjusted price is basically takes care of that. So this is the one like basically like you want to see. Go to the table view. Here is a column. That's the column, variable that we want to basically see. Right. So go to the chart, and then basically what I want to do is like create a line chart. It's very much like this chart that I want to create. Right. So go here, select the line chart, and then x-axis. I'm going to select I'm going to select the date. And then you can see by the week, by month, and so on. But I'm going to go with the day, everyday thing. So this data is, as you see, that each row represents each day. For the stock price. So I've selected a minimum sort of like a period here. And the y-axis, I'm going to use, like I said, like we're going to use this adjusted value. Boom, that's it. That's what we needed to, I wanted to see. So from here, a couple of things you can do. number one is let's make sure that here's a sum. This time, each day has its own, it's just one row, right? So we don't have to worry about it between the sum or average or something like that. But you might have more than one rows for each day. In that case, as long as you keep selecting this sum, that means it combine, it calculate the sum of the couple, 2 days or 3 days, whatever. So it's better to have a mean just in case you might have a couple of days for one single day. Right. So like, for example, this particular day, 2020, February 4th, in this data, we know that there's only one row. So it doesn't matter if you choose sum or average or mean, but just in case you might accidentally have more than 1 days. Okay. Anyway, so the one thing we wanted to do is here, this is where sort of like, let me see here, like this corner, oops, there's some kind of like a straight down thing is happening here. So it kind of recovered a little bit, but I wanted to see like, okay, so what this down means, right? So what I wanted to do is basically like show the sort of reference line to the last day value and see like how significant that, sort of like historically. And the easy way to do that is you just literally show the reference line. So I'm going to select the reference line and then select the last value. So that means the last value here is, I think it's $82 for that one stock. And then another thing is that I want to just quickly format that line. So I want to see that red color and then click on apply. And here, like I can see the last value. So as you can see, this is actually significantly low in the history of Disney because the last time it went that low was around here, 2016 and 2015 or something. But I want you to notice that here is like that really the bottom here is really the bottom here is actually this one, $82. And that's pretty significantly low. And then so it recovered. But how about like 82? How low that this $82 is? In that case, I can just adjust the reference line. Instead of using last value, I'm going to actually set that to like 82. Okay, so maybe $82 as the value. What is that? 82.47. So just to precisely 82.47. And if I draw that line there, it literally, the last time the price went that low is before 2015. So that means like last, I don't know, it's like 8 years or so. I mean, 7, 8 years. Like their stock price didn't perform at all. If you invested before 2015, you didn't make any money. Well, after 2015, if you invested in before 2015, you make money because compared to here. But if you purchase a stock after 2015, unfortunately, you don't really make much money. So that's too bad for the stockholders and shareholders of the Disney. But the thing is though, like not just a Disney, like maybe in the whole, the industry or the whole world, the stock price might be going down, right? Because in the year of the COVID started, like a lot of money have been printed. So most of the stock price went up. So maybe that's a general trend. And then like after that came down. So what can you do in this kind of case? Well, the typical thing you can do is basically compare against the index. So the thing you can use, it was used often is like S&P 500. And conveniently, I've already imported the S&P 500 data here. So this is the same way I actually specify the special symbol for the S&P 500. The same thing, you go to Yahoo Finance and type S&P 500, you get that thing. Let's check this out. So go to the Yahoo Finance, and then the moment you type, like for example, S&P 500, and then here it is, right? So there's kind of a weird symbol, caret or something, and GSPC. That's the symbol you want. Okay. So now coming back here, I already have that data. I imported, so I don't have to worry about that, except I imported this data a few days ago, 2 days ago. So I want to actually refresh that by clicking on this re-import button. And then now, like I have this data all the way to like August 29. So what we can do is now I have the Disney data, S&P 500 data. I want to just combine them together, right? So what you can do is go back to the table, either way, summary view, table view, but simply I want to add that data. So from column header menu, there's something called merge, add rows. And then all I need to do is just select that data frame, SP500, right? And then I can just run that step. What just happened is when I go to summary view, ID column, we have Disney and SP500. Okay. And then symbol and then also like you might have noticed like the rows being increased. So if I go back to before merging the SP500 data, you used to have the 2,431 rows. Now, after being merged, we have 4,862 rows. That means we can actually visualize both S&P 500 and Disney in the same chart and compare them together. So let's do it. So go to the chart. And at this point, this data is pinned to the first step. That means this data is not including the data from the S&P 500. Okay, so instead, like, we want to actually visualize the data that has been merged with SP500 so that we can show the two lines, right? So I'm going to move this pin button to the second step where we merge the data. And then this point, we have only one line. This actually combines the S&P 500 and the Disney with the average. So that doesn't any make sense. I'm going to split this line to two, one for Disney, one for S&P 500 by using a column and assign that ID column. Okay, so now we have two lines being made. And then I'm going to just remove this reference line at this point. Doesn't really help at this point. So S&P 500 is blue and Disney is orange. And then the scales are very different between these two. So you can't really compare. Sometimes like you assign this one of them to Y2 axis so that we can have like a different scale, but show that in kind of like being compared fashion in the same chart. But another thing I can do is I want to start show, instead of the actual price itself, I want to see percent change. How much percent the stock price change since the particular day, in this case, for example, the first day. So what I mean by that is like go to the Y-axis menu and select the quick window calculation. This type of the calculation is called window calculation. And then some of the shortcut here. So like I'm going to select the percent difference from first. Okay, if I select this, what just happened is make that at the very beginning for the orange line and the blue line to be the sort of like a starting point or baseline, if you will. And any changes, like a stock price changes compared to that first day, and they calculate that difference. And then they compare the difference to the original stock price. So that way, the sort of like percent change or percent growth or decrease, increase, that being calculated here and then visualize. So this is cool because now sort of like imagine yourself as an investor of like SP500 index or Disney of this particular day and how much you have made money. Like they said, like you put in, like they said, like $10,000, and then it says 100%. That's your profit. Okay, so that means that $10,000 would be your profit. So this is actually kind of a much better way to visualize, even for like one single chart. But in this case, we have Disney and SP 500. But the thing is here, what we wanted to do is how Disney is performing compared against the sort of like a market index, right? So S&P 500, yes, that's true. After 2022, it went down. So maybe like, many of the stock price went down. So we don't have to be really concerned about, particularly for Disney. But the problem is after this point, towards the end of the 2022, SP 500 went up while Disney kept going down. So it seems like something changed before that. Sometimes they diverge between the Disney and SP 500, but most likely they're kind of the same trend. But after this point, it diverged. So that's one. And then like another thing like I can do at this point is I can change the color to be something, whatever the color would be. I'm going to use a green for SP 500 and then maybe like a purple for the Disney SP 500. I'm going to just name it S&P 500, add some little space and so on to just change it. So that way we can see that better name in here. And then like I'm gonna change that legend position to be the top position. That makes it a little bit easier to see. So then here it is. And in this one though, like right now, the whole data is, we are looking at the data from all the way back to 2014. How about like just do from the 2020? So just right before the COVID started, right? So 2020, maybe like January 1st, and if compare from there. So that means that like the last two years and a half or so. And the easy thing to do is that you can use this filter inside the chart. You can create a chart step as well, but I'm going to just apply that filter only for this charts data. Okay, so here I'm going to select the date column and then later than or equal to. And then I can specify the 2020 0101, or what I can do is like, I'm going to select the year and just type like 2020. That means 2020 or later or equal to 2020. So that means it will return only 2020, 21, 22, and then 23, part of 23. Okay. So now here it is. So now this is comparing, and the first drop is obviously that the first sort of a panicky mode after the COVID becoming pandemic, but after that, S&P 500 was kind of like sort of like up compared to that. Like most of the time is actually above that level, above the beginning of 2020. But Disney seems like after like January 2022, or maybe like a little bit before that, stock price went down and then it really never come back. So there was something going on, probably something to do with, Freud, like I said, Freud thing. And another thing is maybe, the literally customers start canceling this streaming service because they're not happy with the direction of the content where it's going. So maybe because of that, whatever that could be, Disney is not doing well. Okay. So anyway, and from here, what I can do is, what you can do is maybe, bring in a Comcast data or something. So like, for example, go back to same Yahoo and then Comcast. The reason I'm selecting this Comcast is a CMC SA is because it's a very similar company, right? So when you think about it, what the Comcast is, they own NBC, and then they own Universal Picture, and then they own Universal Studio. It's the same thing. Like Disney owns Disney and ABC, and then Disney Picture, and then Disney World, and then Disney Land, or all those amusement parks. So it's very kind of like a similar company. So it might be kind of interesting to compare those two. I've already done that for myself just to kind of give you some idea, and then you see similar kind of picture like this. So there's something going on that's very particular to Disney, but that's another story. I'm not going to go into that too much. But what I wanted to do here is you can actually import this type of data in just a matter of a click, and then bring in, and then you can separately bring in the data and then merge them together so that you can present this in one single chart. We have only two companies, but you can bring in like 3 and 4 and 5 and then together as well. Another thing is I merge those two data frames. But if you just wanted to do like S&P 500, Disney only bring in two companies or something like that, you don't have to bring in separately as a different data frames. Instead, in this dialog, you can just kind of by the column and then bring in another symbol as well. Okay. So if you have like a Comcast, and which is like a CMCSA, and then in that case, I'm going to just here, comma, type the CMCSA, and the same starting date and run it. And what this has just done is it brought like Disney and Comcast data together. So if I update that and then go to the summary, now you see CMC, SA, and Disney. And when you go to the second step, you remember that's the step we merge with S&P 500. So here's the SP 500. And here's this little problem though. This ID column basically is the data frame name. So Disney and SP 500. So but when you go to symbol, that's where each symbol name being captured. So be careful, like when you go to the chart, now here is basically we're still using the ID. That means this Disney contains the data from the Comcast too. So what we want to do is like switch to symbol. Then now like we have 1, 2, 3, but then the color setting is gone because now like the name is different. So like the same thing, like you can go to the color and change the name as well. But just quickly see like like a wait a second. So this is the S&P 500, and then this is like a Comcast and the greens Disney at this point. And then like you see like here maybe after 2023, Disney keep going down while Comcast and S&P 500 going up. Okay, so that's it for today. And then we are preparing for other interesting data set. And if you have any other interesting data set, please let me know and make the comments here. And then, if you find something like a cool chart or something like that, please do share with us. And then I love to see it. Okay. All right. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. Bye.